All right, welcome to the last video in our series on KDP publishing. So far we've taken you through, we've convinced you that you need to publish a book, and you do. You got that song inside you that needs to come out. We've gotten you signed up on KDP. I've shown you how to get your book, how I publish my book as far as getting it written, formatted, getting the book cover done. And then I took you through the process of actually getting your book listed on the KDP. Now, there's so much more we could cover. You know, and there's always some snags or some issues you might run into that I didn't cover because, well, for one, because my book was already published. I just took you through the process. So feel free to hit me up at any point. Ask me any questions you want. If you ask too many questions or too big of questions, I'll try to hit you up for some money and sign you on as a client. Or I may just offer to publish your book in my publishing house, Pressure Tested Publishing. So, you know, we can cover all that later if you're into any snags, but this last video is going to be a shorter one. Just wanted to give you a few ideas and things that I do to help publish my book. Just realized my shiny forehead is not showing on the screen. There we go. That way you guys can catch all the glare from the shiny forehead. All right, so a couple of things I do. Within the KDP system, there are a few things you can do. One of them is KDP Select. When you're publishing your book, there will come a spot. Mine was already selected, so I didn't have that option. But you can enter your book into the KDP Select system, and that's how you get paid per pages read. What that means is if people have Kindle Unlimited, I think that's still the name, they change it sometimes, Kindle Unlimited, basically they pay a membership and they can download Kindle books for free, as many as they want, unlimited. And so Amazon, even though you're giving your book away for free in that system, the Kindle version of it, Amazon will pay you for those pages read. So that's one thing that can help beef up your money a little bit. Another thing you can do within the Kindle system is when you sign on the KDP and your account is there showing your bookshelf. Oh, and before I forget, there are tons and tons of reports you can access. You can find out which books are selling when, what books have sold, how many have sold for the month, for the day, for yesterday. I mean, there are more analytics within the KDP site than you could even ask for. It's all available. At the top, right beside the bookshelf, is reports. So you can sign up your book to be given away for free. You can do this up to 5 days a month and actually give your book away for free. Now, that sounds a little crazy. Why would you want to give your Kindle book away for free when you'd rather just sell it for $2.99 and make that 70% commission? Well, here's the thing. Like I said, you want to use your book as a business card for one, and so it helps with that. But here's the thing, even better, is that when you give your book away for free, it counts as a sale. I actually list this in my spreadsheet as a sale because what happens, the more your book is sold and the more your book is, when I say sold at this point, I mean given away for free, the more your book is accessed by a customer, everything that customer has looked at will also kind of tag itself to your book on Amazon. So giving your book away for free a couple times a month, I do this with all my books. I rotate them through, or I'll give them away for free at certain time periods that helps me. Maybe a launch, maybe offering it for free to a group, something like that. Well, what happens is when people buy that book for free, it will show up at the bottom of the Amazon purchase page. So in other words, when somebody, let's say you've written a book on sheep farming, and a customer, they snagged that book for free, but they were also looking at other books on gardening and livestock and homesteading or prepping. Well, guess what? From now on, when somebody else looks up one of those topics, your book, because it's been purchased quite a few times, is just as likely to show up at the bottom of the Amazon purchase page under the customers also looked for, or customers who bought this book also purchased. And like I said, it doesn't matter if they bought it or they bought it for free, it will still show up there. And so it helps get your book seen more. I found that to be a great strategy. I've never had a problem giving, and sometimes, I mean, like this Red Dawn book, it's a hefty one. This book on Kindle is huge. Sometimes I'll do this book for free and 200 or 300 copies go out in a month. And that's just on a 5-day span. But for the whole month, 200 or 300 free copies I've given away, but it really helps with the ads. And so that's one thing I do. Another thing is that's within the Amazon system. There are a few other things you can do to help market your book, because two strategies. You can write your book and write it and forget it. It may sell a few copies here and there. If you're famous, it may sell a lot of copies. Your friends and family may buy copies, but let's be honest, friends and family always want free books anyway. You'll send them the PDF. So you need to market your book if you're really wanting to sell it. Now, market it through your website, that kind of thing. One of the things I also do is this book right here. There are actually 3 or 4 books compiled in this one. For instance, one of the books in this Red Dawn manual is a book on how to defend your property against an attack by armored vehicles. It's a really neat book. It was a public domain manual that I got a hold of through my military connections. I can publish that book by itself. And it doesn't matter that I've already included it here. I can also publish it by itself as its own book. And so it's a way to make more income off the work you've already done. Now, here's another really cool thing. If you're familiar with this movie, Red Dawn, Go Wolverines, you realize that in the original movie with Patrick Swayze and all those other actors when they were young, they were fighting Russians. A small force of Americans were fighting Russians who had more armament, more weapons, more people. Well, guess what happened in the last couple of years in the world, where a small country, a small group of people were also fighting Russians in much the same manner. And that would be in Ukraine, the war in Ukraine that's still going on right now. I republished that same book, word for word, everything. All I changed was the cover and the title. And so on the new version, or the other version, it's a gray cover and there's a Ukraine flag right here. And the title of it is The Ukraine Insurgency Manual, because guess what? The exact same tactics and strategies and everything that went into this book that was in the Red Dawn movie is the same stuff that they're using over in Ukraine right now. And so I sell the exact same book under 2 different titles to different groups of people. And so you can experiment with your books that way too. You can retitle your book. You can do a new cover. Maybe you've got a ministry book. And so you can do the exact same ministry workbook. I've done this. That's why I'm mentioning it. You could do one for adult ministry and one for youth ministry. Change the cover. Put something like anime or something on the youth one. Sell it to both audiences. You've already done the work. Why not do 15 more minutes of work and sell it to 2 different audiences? And I'll leave you with one more thing here, and then we'll wrap up this whole series, and I'll leave it up to you to ask questions. But this book that I published, that my grandfather wrote, this book has 3 easily identifiable sections. We've got pre-World War II, which is him growing up, dirt poor, having to just scrape by just to have food during the Depression years. We've got the military section, which is in the middle. And then we've got the latter part of his life when he worked for EMS and was a paramedic and taught medical classes. I actually split this book up into 3 sections as well. You can buy the whole book for a certain price. Or you could buy Hank's Scratch Pad Volume 1, which is the early years. It's a much smaller book, so thus it's a smaller price. But I make a lot of extra sales that way because some people outright, they'll buy the whole book. Others will buy Volume 1. And eventually they may buy the whole thing or volumes 1, 2, and 3. So if I sell 1, 2, and 3, I've actually made more money off 3 volumes than I ever made off of somebody buying the 1 big volume. And so basically I'm just offering different formats for different people. They'll buy them for different reasons. And so you know what? I told you that was the last thing. Let me do one more. One more thing is my copy, paste, repeat formula. I've talked about Amazon almost exclusively, but everything I publish goes up in more than one place. The most popular places are Etsy. I also publish on Fiverr. I publish on Teachers Pay Teachers. Those are the biggest ones, the ones where I have the most income come in. And not everything you publish will fit each one of those audiences. But if you can publish it in multiple places, do that because you've already done the work. You can put in another 15, 20 minutes of listing work, or pay your VA to do it, or pay your kids to do it. And you've right away just increased where you can sell your book. I also have a Shopify store for my publishing company. And so I relist all my books there as well because I get more and more traffic there. And the neat thing that I do there, this is a secret I don't tell everybody. My book is already available in print, paperback and hardback. It's available as a PDF in certain places. It's available on Kindle. Now, in my Shopify store, I actually offer, especially with my workbooks, I offer a binder version. In other words, it's a printed out 3-ring binder version of some of those workbooks, where I will actually send out the printed version of that in a big, thick binder, but I include bonuses. It's also autographed because it's coming straight from me. I print these from my house. And so those printed versions that I offer for sale in my Shopify store, I really jack up the price because I'm having to put some physical labor into that, or rather, it could be my kids, my wife, whoever's helping me that day. But it's got the heft factor to it. Do you remember when we talked about the heft factor the other day on the other videos? Listen, you ready? You ready? Yeah, that's what I mean by the heft factor. A binder with those many pages in it really makes a good noise, and it's autographed, and it comes with extra bonuses. And so I'll have some books that will sell for $10 in paperback, $15 in hardback on Amazon. But if you order the binder, it might be $99. Well worth my time, but also a lot more money. And people, the neat thing is they paid more for it. It's a more workable, usable copy, and so I find that they'll use it more and also interact with me. People that buy the binder are more likely to eventually become clients. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this series. It's a very short series. I've crammed a lot of stuff in here. You may need to rewatch it, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Y'all take care.